Nisha and Brighu, thank you for welcoming us in your beautiful community of Naga, the home of Kullvi Whims. So I've got a few questions
And
for
Brighu's
you.
home as well.
And Brighu's home, with his
500 years.
birthplace at the back. So I'll start with you, Brighu. Um, why Kullvi Whims? Um, how did the name come about?
That I think Nisha will tell better.
Well, it's half and half, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Kullvi is from Kullu,
Yes.
and so that's the Brighu half. And Whims is so it's actually the acronym stands for Women of Himachal Self Help Group. But then when I first came here and started working with the women or seeing what they do, it was very difficult to give one design and have many pieces made of that. The women would each put their own it was according to their whims and fancies. They sort of put in their own ideas and had these, very whimsical sort of patterns come out of it. And so we decided like that sort of just captures the essence of who we are in a way that it's just all organical and things don't always follow a pattern. It sort of works with what the women want, what we want, and how we do.
Why did you feel the need to start this project?
I would see women walking and knitting. There'd be women sitting on the verandas of their homes weaving, and so just the amount of skill and beauty here was astounding. And I've always been interested in crafts, so it just felt like something could be done, and the women then were interested in doing that. And around that time, I met Brighu. He was just starting his tourism business, and I think we kind of had the same ideas, maybe.
Yeah, the same. But for me is also that I am local from here. For me is like our old craft in slowly, not slowly, very fastly. I think since connectivities come, like roads and everything come, that I feel that here local like craft is going down in different direction. Like you can see the here many shops with the they make the shawl and everything, and they are all more acrylic and all the yarn is exported yarn. When we saw the shepherd, the older generation people, they are still wearing that old stuff and they are few and new generation I don't know why they are.
It's like your heritage is a bit being diluted
Yeah, kind of.
with the modern kind of world coming in and kind of bringing out acrylic wool. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw that.
And then, in a way, like from living heritage, it's going into almost ritualized because one of the things that I was fortunate or privileged to take part in was Brighu's sister's wedding, where all the women of the family sit and spin together. That's part of the ritual. And there's older women and young women. All the older women, of course, knew how to spin, but there's a young girl who also has to be there. And she just couldn't, she didn't know how to spin. So you kind of almost see it disappearing from generation to
Yes,
generation.
we saw that this morning when you took us to the shepherds. They have got that eagerness of kind of preserving. I mean, they dressed us up to see that there is still that passion for their traditional heritage, and it's how you preserve that. Nisha, as a kind of outsider from Naga origin, where does the passion come from to become involved into nurturing this heritage? Because I mean, it's not only bringing a community of women together, but it's really preserving that heritage. I think you see it in the pattern, you see it
Yeah.
in the wool you use.
Yeah, well, this area specifically, I mean, the Himachal has the culture of wool and spinning and
Yes.
weaving, but this area especially has very specific motifs which are particular to this region, and that those have traveled across from Central Asia. So if you kind of look at it, it's very similar to Central Asian motifs, like from Uzbekistan and those regions as well. and that's very unique to only Kullu and possibly Kinnaur as well, which is another valley. So there's this very rich kind of craft in this area, which immediately attracted me. And then slowly, like doing a little bit of, so it's the weaves, the motifs of the weaves, and then even the knits, the socks are also very particular. Again, they have these very particular sort of motifs. So I think I got attracted to that first, just the color and the beauty of their skills and the craft of knitting and weaving. And then slowly, when we were traveling around doing research in the region, we also realized that the shepherd community used to be connected, with the artisans, and they would travel through the village. And then there was kind of an exchange of the sheep would fertilize their fields of the settled community. So there was this kinship, old ties through this, and then there would be an exchange of wool and grains and things, and then the shepherds would continue on their way. And they would do this year after year, so families knew each other. But all those ties sort of broke down with the advent of the apple orchards and things, because people didn't want sheep anymore, destroying their orchards. So the shepherds had to find other routes, and slowly that connection got broken. So when we traveled around, we would still see the herders with their wool, and we realized that wool was being discarded. So at that time, I think the idea of like just building this entire supply chain, reconnecting these communities in a different way, maybe through us, through Kullvi Whims, that sort of started taking shape. And so it wasn't just about the craft, it was just all the communities who were coming together through this, creating in fact an alternate um, mode of production to the industrial mode, a completely alternate mode of production. So I think those things started becoming very interesting to me, and to see, can we do this, like, can we sort of,
Because I think you're talking about the flock to frock
yeah,
kind of system, and I think that is the really interesting um, aspect of it
Yeah.
that came with Kullvi Whims, on how everything in the community is interconnected.
it starts from the land actually, like it's the land, and then how that, and the communities, the indigenous communities connection to their land, how it's a living being, like it's not just land that they go, it's social, it's like a whole system of sort of interconnectedness for them with the places. There is again divinity everywhere, and the herders also, they have their stories that Shiva gave them the gift of caring for the animals. He chose their community and said, "You guys will be the, carers of the sheep and the goats." And so that was sort of bestowed upon them, and they take that very seriously. And because of that, they have a very special connection with their animals. They know each and every, sheep in their flock. I think they have particular whistles, maybe for the sheep and the goats, and they even name them and identify them. So I think all those things started coming out, just the caring within the community, and the connectedness with the land, with the space. Even for the women, it's not just about their craft; it's about their festivals, the their gardens, their the just as they walk around, they'll tell you, "Oh, this plant does this and that one does this." And in fact, when we started natural dyeing, that was interesting because they knew a lot about the plants, about the flora around them, and that sort of traditional knowledge and understanding that and having that come to the fore, that was also really special, I think.
And so, Brighu, you're the one male in all this wide group. I think we talked earlier this morning with Nisha about how important your role was into kind of breaking kind of barrier for some of the women, and having travelled and seen so many women's projects, sometimes I just feel that the role, your role is kind of put a little bit in the background. So I just wanted to know from you, like, how important it is to you to be that mediator, to make things happen, really.
I think I'm not doing any magic. Yes, for me, I'm just local and trying to tell community ki this is very important.
To
But
get
I'd
what
like to
you
know
want.
what you tell them, because I'd call the women and say there's an exhibition, come. Then they'd be like, no, no, we can't come. Then I'd call Brighu and say they're saying they can't come. Can you do something? And then he'd say I'll do it. And
Yeah.
he'll go and talk to them and say it's done, they're coming. So what do you talk to them?
no, no. Mostly I talk about yeah, you are not presenting yourself in exhibition or anywhere.
Yeah.
You are presenting belly.
Yeah.
In you have a really beautiful craft and tradition and everything, and you are presenting not yourself. Yeah, not one place craft. It's I think you are presenting in the world whole
Your
valley,
culture. Yeah.
culture and
Yeah.
everything. That way also I say there is so many people they don't get these chances.
Hmm.
You are luckiest person who is doing this thing. I tell these things mostly.
You're a bit of a charmer,
Yeah.
aren't you?
But I tell them I give many examples also,
Yeah.
and you see there is so many people they don't get these kind of chances.
You give them that safety, I think.
Safety
that
and safety, yeah.
they know there's no risk. That they
Yeah.
are, I think in any community, what we've seen is they are willing to take risks if if they are in a safe environment. If there's, I think you've established trust. That's what we see the woman like. Everyone is smiling and joking. Like everyone is very joyful, and I think it's testimony of the group you've done. You've created that people. There's an harmony